E from marketwizard.com and eminywizard.com. Finding traders to use risk capital that you can afford to lose. Okay, anybody that is shorted, I said I don't want to talk you out of shorting, but I do want to encourage you as a long to make sure you're paid by that target at 07. So it can go to any high, but the logical target was 07. And try to respect that 09 area first, 09 to 975 that shows up as T1. Anybody that's in a short, this is a retest of this area back here that was a squeeze. And so I'm suggesting anything below 03 to 02 is good fortune. I could be totally wrong. But you make sure you're paid if you're trying to avoid trouble. And anybody who buys high to sell higher, 2-point stop. This is that 2-minute chart that I was just looking at, saying we've got 2s and 10s probably still above. We said we're getting stretched. Still above that 2801, kind of an important psychological idea. But you can see this pullback. These 03s before, 3 1/4, were resistance, and we've now gotten above them, so they need to get broken first before anything else happens. If you want to adjust the chart and go back to a little deeper chart, because 2s are very fast. And here's a 3. And you want a 4. And these are all fast charts. And your 5. Because our normal chart is a 15. And you can see how these charts have gone under it a bit, but then they kind of regain. So I said, if you got yourself at some point and you're going to guess wrong 5 times before right once, and then there's going to be one that gets maybe 5 to 7 points. Usually you won't get a 10-pointer early. And it's just so hard against this type of a squeeze. Now we're going to go back and look at a 10 because we had that on, said that was a good chart. Still supportive, right? Until we start to break down this blue line. And then we've got the 15 backing us up. So it looks to me like 99 is going to be a key idea today based on this chart. And there could be a news event that comes down 20 points. Who knows? That's why you stops, because you never know. Something could happen. But the agenda has been up. Give some breathing room for a nice finish. All right, Scott, we're back in that 05 area that we had talked about. So I think shorting today is a lucky proposition, and I think it's probably better to be buying pullbacks and try to just go with it for a couple of points. And if you get a runner, good for you. And I do think we've got some stolen range and that it's going to be fairly choppy. You know, we've come a long way. So the odds don't favor a big move up or down right now, more consolidation type. Here was that 09, we said make sure you paid 07's that primary target. And I said anybody that's shorting, use a 2-point stop. The tough game they put on us today. Tough game. You know, this was the easy sailing overnight. If there's ever any easy sailing, it's overnight when there's very little volume and they can just do what they want. So the trick is to try to understand where their targets are. a huge, huge pivot in our system at 12 and a half. So for now, I'm using that idea as our key resistance. Always have to get it up above that and keep it going. And we have identified 15 as a potential target, but doesn't mean it has to do it today. It's just a target that Scott through the system has already identified. So backing and filling is welcome, but I don't think it's going to be a biggie. And if it is, that would surprise me a lot. I think there's better odds for chop than there is for a plunge. Let's take a look at a couple other charts. Okay, and this is our predictive chart. Very, very clear. Step by step. This is our key range right now in the pipe. Trying to break this barrier right up here and trying to hold this barrier down here at 98. So I'm reasonably good at math. This says 275 is the flipper. So let's call that 03 and let's call this 98 and let's call that 08. And that's our range right now that needs to be resolved. For anything else, step by step, guess what? If we get higher, then we know that's the range. And we can do that same thing again with that big pivot 12 and the 02s and the 8s. And if we came this way, we could still do the same thing, understanding these laws of proportion, and this 92 area is going to be very important. So either way, using this type of an idea, it gives us the idea of let's see where we are in like a two box system. Understanding the one above it or the one below it is the key. So right now we clearly can say, all right, so this is the box that's being resolved. Keep it simple. And then try to marry it with some ideas like the moving averages. And I can talk pretty freely here because not many people are going to watch these videos. You know, it's too much work. Giving them ideas that would make them a fortune. But they're too busy, talking about AOC or some political agenda instead of learning how to take care of themselves. She's the one that gets the last laugh. The kind of money she can make now just being a member of Congress, with health benefits guaranteed and everything else. Smart gal. You may not like her politics, but smart gal. Here's a 5. We had looked at a 15 before. The aggressive longs made something but have given it back already. And I'm still not expecting a plunge. What would surprise me is if we got, there's a shakeout. It would be very difficult, in my opinion, to get past the red line. I said today will be just one of those very challenging days and probably more limited opportunity than anything. Open was what, 2804. Keep that in mind. And these moving averages will be rising up. Primary target that we had was 07. That's turned out to be a winner. And anybody that's using the 2-point stop stops down right here, coming into the 01s. Now I have the half gap at 96.75. So let's call it 97. And I said, very rarely do you get your 10-pointer early. So I'm still suspect that this can get to the half gap. Stops down at 01. And this is a shakeout of traders that bought early and figured it would never stop, and then they're getting shaken out. And then we'll get a Z pattern, my guess. Anybody gets back into the 01s to 98, primary target. Let's go back to our larger time frame. Said we were getting ahead of ourselves. Come back in, and we've got about a dime off of the high. And I had suggested possibly if there was some kind of a news event, we could get maybe something like that 03 becoming the middle of that range. So let's go back and look at that chart that we talked about. And this is a 15-minute chart, our bread and butter chart. And the 01 today I've got as a R2. 2-point stop, I said, if you are shorting. Take what you can. News event, and this is a range type trade right now. Let's go back and look at this, which we were articulating just a minute ago. It shakes out all of the aggressives, and my guess is before long we'll be back up there on top of 03s, 04s. That would be the Z pattern. And I've got the half cap just back here, just below. Zeke had said, I guess they've got a delay at school because of snow there. And it said somebody posted, so I did the math. That should be the half gap. Now, what would surprise me today is if we got a pullback and came back in here and took out these 95s. That would surprise me. And I said today's going to be treacherous type of day. Because you know you've got the flyer and it can abort anytime. Our primary target at 07 served us well. And I said, good fortune, anything you get above that. Range type trade. Let's go take a look over here. It's a 2-minute chart. I'm going to put a 1 on. And you can see already this idea of that 03 being the middle that we had talked about. When you get a sharp down bar, I said news event. I have no idea what it was. I've got the TV off right now, as I usually do. Zeke's usually here to tell me what it was, but it doesn't matter. You could just feel the change in tempo and the size of the bar compared to the rest of the bars. You know they're gunning for your stops. We have today what I believe is a limited opportunity. Stolen range, we call it. And that's your half gap, which I'm assuming is supportive. And we've got about 10 minutes left in the hour. 5-minute chart. Each line has to exert its influence on the market. So now here's your battle between the green and the red line right here. And the generals have, because the generals have taken it back this direction, we need to understand where clear support is going to be. And so far, we don't have an angel in the RTH session. We just have a neighborhood that we think is important. Because that was our initial target zone overnight, was this 98,202. So this is a little shakeout right now. And that should be about a 10-point trade, which is huge in a rabid dog day. And part of that we said was just because of the length of the move. We'd said 94s were the breakout. And the generals have taken in to the woodshed all of the aggressive longs. Anybody that's buying, using the 92 to 94 as your primary support. And if that doesn't hold, then we could get right back down to 88s and even close that gap. And there's a shakeout. Here's your half gap right there. Half gap. And anything below half gap, I'm considering good fortune. There's still no angel. There's a retest of the breakout, right? Remember that first high last night? Stop 92 for anybody buying. And this is this is our middle trade. 456 is done. 4, 5, 6 is not done. But this is a return to the middle trade. And totally has taken surprise to some of these traders up here who just didn't take their stops. So I said 2-point stop. Very tough trade today. And this is a retest of the middle zone and yesterday's high. And this is suspect now because there's no resistance built up. So when we do find the support, this can jackrabbit again. I got about 7 minutes left in the hour. Still no angel. The cruelest trick will be for the boys to come and knock out these stops right in here. Come down one more leg and then get the bounce. And we got, what, about a 12-point swing. Let this settle. Don't be too aggressive now. If you are buying, if you have profits that you want to risk, fine. Wait to see some evidence first. Let's go back here. We said we already know. We're coming back. Anybody that's into the 95s to 94s, good heavens. Make sure you are paid. And I said, this is the problem with this type of a day where no resistance, no support is built up. If the big boys bring it back, then they can take a flyer. So you've got to use a stop. 95 to 97s. Big target. Well, what a great game they put on today. 07 primary target works. Much harder than I thought it would be to get back here, and it turned out this was just a knife. 92 stop if you're buying. Let's go right back to the RTH. And it could be now we have range trading and the high is in for the day just because of the length of this move and got range trading set up. Right? The size of this swing alone tells us that a big boy's in this trade. And retesting the support, the breakout. $10-minute chart. And that's why we put these on, because I don't know whether it's going to get retested today, tomorrow, the next day. But you want to identify those areas because the market will seek to come back to it. Big surprise for me today, of course, is that it did that so quickly. But we still know the neighborhood that they're gunning for. And we try to find a chart that agrees with that. 10-minute chart agrees. Primary chart is our 15. So we want to be aware of that chart. And it's very hard to break 1, 2, 3 in a row. Very hard. You can usually do it on news. But normally, no. 92 stop anybody that's trying to buy. No guarantee that's going to work because we do have a big boy in this trade. Looking for an angel. We don't have one yet. So somebody is conservative. Do nothing. And this is that first high last night, that 95 high, and then the 98s, on and on. Primary target today, I said 707. Doesn't have to be, but my guess is the high may be in for the day right now. And that 12 and a half still a big, big resistance. Just part of the system.